rolling.
Hello, Aragona.
Yeah.
Hello, YouTube. Yeah, cars being broken into, a story as old as time. We have some good news though. So you guys, I was just looking over the waves report, and you're gonna have some hotspot patrols, mostly in about the 4900 block of Haygood, and then over Holly Farms, Delora Lane, that area. We had several cars broken into, but the good news is they also hit over on Chippendale Court, across Haygood, and we caught one of them and then identified the other one, which also relates to the big concentration around Delora Lane because he lives on Delora Lane. The detectives are currently trying to link him to several cases throughout the 3rd precinct. So his buddy got arrested. He, last I checked, wasn't in custody, but they were pretty close to being able to get a warrant for him, several warrants. So those two are tied to a lot of the vehicle break-ins. So them being off the street should really help our numbers and help cut that down a little bit. Not only vehicle break-ins, but actually stealing vehicles, and then some burglaries that they're looking at them for. So they were kind of a two-man crime wave going all through, mostly in Aragona, but all over the 3rd precinct for the most part, and doing a lot of crime. So the detectives did a really good job, and the guys that responded to that call did a really good job of taking his buddy into custody and getting him identified. I will say this, one of the cases over there that they caught the guy, the one guy on the scene, and he actually had property on him, so that was easy to charge him. The other guy that got away, we had identified him, but tying him to the cars over on Chippendale was going to be difficult because we didn't have any real eyewitnesses. What they wanted to do, the responding officers and the detectives, was to pull prints and DNA from inside of one of the cars that had been broken into, and then be able to tie it to those two suspects. But the guy that had his car broken into got his stuff back because we caught the guy, and he said, I don't want anything to do with it, which is frustrating because in order for us to charge these guys, we have to have people willing to go along with the investigation. At the very least, give a DNA swab, which is just, one in your cheek. It's called buccal swab. So it's not a hard thing to do, but he was unwilling to do that. So they had to find some other clever ways to try to tie these two guys to the crime. So if you're ever in that position, it can be a pain. I get it. I always warn people when they're going to press charges against someone. I always tell them this process, it's not going to be fun. You're going to have to go to court several times because they always continue their cases. They try to continue them as long as they can so that people will lose interest, and eventually the judge will have to throw the case out. But you got to be diligent with them because, again, it's the only way we can get them into custody and hold them accountable for that stuff. And then, of course, please lock your car doors. None of the cars over there were locked except for one, but they left their laptop sitting on the passenger side in plain view. And as I've said, these guys are pulling on door handles. They're not going to smash out windows unless they see something right there that they can grab, because they don't want the attention, which is why they don't smash out windows very often. But if it's something that they can get a pretty penny for, they'll take the chance, which is why he got caught. So lock your car doors, take your valuables inside with you, don't leave stuff in your cars, because eventually somebody will pull your door handle. It's really, I've said this before, it's crazy how much the numbers have ramped up on that. It really became its own little industry, and there's literal gangs of folks that do this for a living. And I say gangs, I mean criminal gangs that, they've got other ways to make money as well, but that one's been pretty lucrative for them, and they recruit kids to do it because they know the kids aren't going to go to jail, and it's just a revolving door a lot of times with the juvenile justice system for good reason. I understand both sides of it. You don't want to ruin a kid's life over, one or two minor things, but at some point there's got to be some accountability. It's just harder in the juvenile system because they do give them a lot of chances, and these folks, the adults, know that, and that's why they use kids to go around and try to steal from cars. Also, always worth repeating, if you see somebody going through your car, do not confront them. Most of them are carrying guns. A lot of those guns are from cars that they have pulled on doors that are unlocked and the gun's in the car, so now they have a gun on them. And so, and we've had several people had guns pointed at them, and at least 2 that have actually been shot at by people going through cars. It's not like it used to be. These aren't just, you know, kids looking for kicks on a weekend. They will, you know, if they're carrying a gun, you put yourself in some real danger. So call us, that's what we're here for. But try to eliminate it by locking your car doors and taking your stuff inside. That would be helpful. As far as the numbers go though, for that crime specifically, so kind of an overview, we keep a lot of stats and we compare year to year. And so for the previous 4 years, we had seen a drop in our crime numbers pretty much across the board. Violent crime was fluctuating a little bit, but we saw small drops in that. And then the property crimes, the things that I'm talking about now, for 4 years straight went down, and then this 5th year, a significant drop. So we've had for 5 years straight, our crime numbers looking better and better and better. I contribute that to, you know, all the technology that the chief has implemented, a lot of diligent patrolmen out there doing these hotspot patrols, and then the detectives working really hard. That was a number that was very interesting. So see if I can remember the exact numbers. Nationwide detectives clearance rates, I think was for homicides, is about 52%. They clear just over half their cases. Our detectives clear 92% of their homicides. So those guys are really working and putting in the work. So we're seeing good numbers, and but they can always be better. The more diligent we are, and the more we spread the word to make sure you lock up your stuff and call us when you see stuff. I see a lot of people posting on Nextdoor, hey, you know, or I'll hear it. I'll hear, yeah, we put it on Nextdoor. You know, there was people going through cars. We can't read that. We're a government agency. We can't monitor your communications unless you call us. We're not aware of it, and you have to make a report so that the numbers get put in there. That's why when I just looked through the waves report, you're going to have extra patrols in Aragona specifically because people called, made reports, and that's how we get extra patrols to those areas. So very important to do that. I don't think I have much else. I'll give you one little new tech. So I mentioned new technology. I've talked to you guys about that before. We have another one that we're implementing. I don't think it's gone into effect yet, but they're called drone hives. So down at the ocean front, they're going to have 2 locations on top of buildings where we house drones. And if there's something that happens, like the 8 people getting shot down at the ocean front the other night, those drones automatically go up. The real-time crime center folks have licenses now to fly these things, and they can be anywhere in the ocean front in about 2 minutes because we're going to have one on each end. We're going to see how that works. I'm sure it's going to be effective, and if it is, then I think there might be plans to put some more, but they're starting with those 2 at the ocean front. So the Chief Newdigate is just, he's super forward thinking, especially when it comes to technology, and he's looking for all kinds of new ways to try to keep our crime numbers down, and it seems to be working. I mean, 5 years straight of lowering numbers significantly. Homicides were cut in half from the previous year to this last year, so it seems to really be working, so good on him. Anything else? Yes?
Do you hear anything about the peeping Tom?
I did not. What was the peeping Tom?
Do y'all know what I'm talking about? There was, like, last month or a couple months ago, there was a peeping Tom in the neighborhood. Nobody called it in?
I don't think so. I mean, if it was just one time, it probably wouldn't have come across my desk. It didn't hit the waves report, so it probably wasn't several incidents. Where'd you hear about it?
On our Facebook page.
Yeah, Facebook and Nextdoor, and
Yeah, see, that's the
somebody's
kind of
daughter.
stuff that drives me crazy.
you gotta report it.
You gotta call us, yeah,
Gotcha.
because we're the ones that are gonna find those. So it's
think
good to
it
do
was on the
both.
news,
I
too.
love putting it out on social media so people are aware, but they also have to call us.
I think it was on the news too.
Well, then maybe they did call, or maybe they just called the news, I don't know.
Oh, because a friend of ours was, anyways, asking about
Yeah,
it.
it's possible that we got a
Okay.
case on
Okay, I
it.
just didn't know.
didn't see
That's
it.
okay.
What street?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Wasn't mine, so that's good. They don't wanna see all this, so I'm just saying.
Anybody else? Yes.
I had thought I saw a post too where some of the people's cars moving over, like it seemed like they were moving over from that Delora over towards the Bryan and Rosemarie area. I think somebody saw Rosemarie posted they got their cars
Yeah,
rustled through.
that's on the Waves report.
They're on there,
Yep.
okay, so you got that one,
Yep,
good.
Yep.
Y'all
Yes.
on it?
Yeah.
There's been a good bit of publicity about shooting downtown, some story on that.
Yeah, we had two people were shot not too long ago. Then we had a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Actually, two of those. One was an accidental discharge, and the other one was intentional. But the only one that involved suspects was the one right across from Keegan's, over in the parking lot there, and we're addressing that. We've already addressed it with town center folks to try to get some more lights out there. It's very dark, and the hedges, we need to get those trimmed down, because when they get in that parking lot, basically what happens is some kind of fight starts in the bar, it goes out into the parking lot, and then they're in an area where they can't be seen, and then guns get pulled and things get out of control. So yeah, we're addressing that issue, and I think we also went and spoke with Keegan's management about some of the issues they were having, gave them some suggestions, which they've taken. They're working with us and kind of changing their hours, I think, and implementing some more security measures in there. So yeah, that's being addressed for sure.
One more question.
Yes.
When we went to CAC meeting, there was a couple of folks that were complaining about the car rallies.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's another thing that's being addressed. I just got an email yesterday. We're going to start working with, so just a little bit about the car clubs. They know to go on private property because we can't write them tickets if they're on private property. So they meet up in businesses, things like that. They have a lot of them over at Freedom Car Wash, which is just into the 4th precinct. They have tried to address it with the Freedom folks, and they're not willing to kind of help out by telling them they can't go there. I think it's probably good business for them because they're using the facilities, but what we're gonna do is reach out to the private owners of that property and see if we've got something called a trespass ban letter that we can put on file so that we are given authorization to enforce trespassing on their behalf. They have to be willing to go to court for us to do it, but we can do it without having to get a hold of them. So normally what would happen is we've got a bunch of people on private property, we would have to get a hold of the owner or manager of that property, get them on the phone and say, hey, this is what's going on, do we have authorization to do this? It's very hard to get a hold of people. A lot of times you don't even know who the people are, but so we implemented this trespass ban letter that we can use. So we're gonna address it that way, also with just a lot of enforcement. But again, that's tricky because they know we can't give them tickets until they get out on the main street, so we gotta kinda hang out. We had an issue down at our boat ramp, off Shore Drive, and same kind of deal. That's city property, so it's different. We can enforce trespassing, but we couldn't write tickets, so we would have to set up, hiding places and wait until they hit Shore Drive and then start stopping them and writing them all kinds of tickets. So yeah, that's something that's being addressed citywide, because it's becoming a problem for sure. Yeah. Anybody else?
Wait, did you just say you can't write tickets on city property?
No, if it's not a public road, so
Oh,
the
okay.
boat ramp, private property, so there are certain, even streets in the city that are private roads, and we can't write tickets on those. There's certain things we can enforce traffic-wise, DUI, reckless driving, but the things we usually get them for, loud mufflers, equipment violations, squealing tires, things like that, they gotta be on a public road in order for us to write those tickets. Yeah. Yes?
The speed monitoring now in Aragona, did you get any good data on that, or what was the feedback on?
Yeah, so where was it? Where'd you see it last? I know right now it's on Greenwell Road. Where was it at?
It's kind of about, it was on the, I think Aragona for a while, right?
That was probably a while ago, but we do keep all that data. So those, don't tell anybody, those things don't write tickets, they just monitor and they show you your speed, and then we collect it. But what they are good for is to, and it wasn't on Aragona, but on Sullivan Boulevard, where we actually wrote a proactive radar patrol for that area based on the numbers that we saw coming off that machine. So yeah, we've definitely used it a lot in Aragona. But we get requests for that thing all the time. Everybody wants it in their neighborhood because, as I've said before, there is not one neighborhood in the city that doesn't think they have a speeding problem. Some of them do, some of them don't, but everybody wants speed enforced in their neighborhood. I get it, you know, it's,
I would request that you consider Broad Street, it's the First Street parallel from Virginia to
Mhm.
right, it's high traffic, plug-in vehicle all the time.
Yep, I did have a request for that, it was there about a year and a half ago, I had it, over there.
Yeah.
But we can always put it back there. I go kind of in order of the requests that I get. I've got quite a few in front of that, so we try to move it around quite a bit, but I'll put you on the list. All right. Anybody else?
Just want to thank you for your
Oh, well, my pleasure.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. While we're rolling here, Amelia, you wanna, oh, you are too. I'll let you both come up here. If y'all have not, met or are familiar with, this is our District 4 City Councilman, Dr. Amelia Ross Hammond, and this is our District 9 City Councilman, Josh Schulman. And, yes, thank you. And they work very hard to, and I'll let them tell us, you know, more of the good
We're
news.
like cousins.
That's right. No,
But,
we did good
Work
together.
together.
They both work very hard to try to help us, work with the city and schools to acquire the Jericho Road property for a park. We're getting there. They're gonna update us on that. So, anyway, I'm gonna,
Okay. Well, like
Picture?
I said.
there you go. Keep going, keep going. I've got it on video. I'm gonna post
Very
it.
good.
I just brought a few little pointers of things that are going on that at least will interest you because our area goes from Burton Station all the way to Aragona, part of Pembroke Town Center, all the way to Thalia, and then back. So it's quite a zigzag, including Topgolf, all of that. That's all part of District 4. So we have quite a mixture of people in there and quite diverse. What's happening right last week, like we have planning items, 2 planning items are coming up April 21st. And then of course, I will mention Pocahontas next, so at least we get that. Northampton Development, if you know, right near where the Simon Outlet, we are putting a VA outpatient center that's gonna be big enough for over 660 employees along that stretch.
90,000 plus salaries.
90,000 plus salary for each person. So this is gonna be quite busy. Also, they're gonna put some retail, stores along there. There were several cities vying for that, so I've worked with the developer people for almost 3 years, and we were awarded. I think part of, sorry, I have a little voice. I'll talk loud, I'll use my school voice.
The box.
Church was.
Gotcha.
Switch on the box. You've got such a sweet, soft voice, Amelia.
Yes. Okay, so here we go.
Left hand on the top. Never mind, I got you. I got you, sweetie.
I'm a klutz.
I am too.
I shouldn't have done anything.
You're good. That's why I didn't jump up, because I would like tripped and fallen and taken out, talked to him, I did that.
Trisha? Here we go.
Oh, boy. Okay, just going back over the planning items that's coming up April 21st. One is the Northampton Development LLC. And that was I was talking about, where they have salaries that would be about 90,000 to start. They're looking for up to 660 employees, and that's a VA outpatient hospital. It is huge. And we were blessed to win that award, because part of it, of course, is federal. And then they're gonna have also some retail stores along there. So get ready for a little more congestion down that side, near Simon Outlet. And that's in Burton Station. Another one that's coming up is the Runnymede Corporation. They're gonna put up 160 units off Cleveland Street. So that's further up from here, but those are two that are coming in. One thing that caught my attention is not happening in our area, because some of you may know about the Nemo Historic Church that was built in 1791. And so they're battling whether to keep it in the historic district. And some of the people want to preserve it. So that hasn't finished yet. As you know, that's in Councilwoman Barbara Henley's area. But unfortunately, she just lost her husband 2 days ago. So I know that would go a little later, reserved. Other things I wanted to mention was, and I jotted here and there, to do with the Pocahontas Village. I did meet with the lady twice, trying to talk with her, and I know some people have written about having vacant land. The point is, we wanted to be able to fit in somehow. So on April 16th, we're having a meeting. I deferred the vote so we could meet with her, and some of you all and the Pocahontas people could come out. So we'll be meeting over at the Discovery Church on Euclid Road at around 6 o'clock for about an hour and a bit, at least so we can hear from her directly and hear from the people there. And hopefully we can come to a compromise. Because really, after I looked at it all, I said, maybe this could be more modified to a duplex than this triplex. Maybe it could be set further back on the road. But the point is, we're going to listen, and I hope those who are there from Pocahontas Village can share their feelings. And that way, we'll make a decision May 5th. But I'm giving them a chance so they can hear from her and vice versa. Especially I talked, with Lorraine, who mentioned, some people are working and did not get a chance to go to the public hearing. So this is why we're having it there. We're gonna have it on city property, but some of the seniors to get to where we have, which is the Hive, on that corner near Apex, it's not easy to get to. So the Discovery Church is right down the road. So I asked the pastor if he could accommodate us so we can, somehow come to a compromise. Because I believe in a community getting along, living together, and coming up with a compromise. Other things that's going on for the city, we have our budget hearing that is on Wednesday at 6 o'clock at the convention center. That way, anything that's on your mind, if you haven't got to look at the different parts of the